A man who was wrongfully imprisoned and at one point sentenced to death in Oklahoma is now free. This is 71-year-old Glenn Simmons, seen here with his lawyer and loved ones, reading an order from an Oklahoma judge declaring his innocence, a declaration that he's been waiting for 5 decades. Simmons spent a total of 48 years, 1 month, 18 days behind bars for a crime he did not commit. Joining us now, Glenn Simmons, who's with his cousin, Cecilia Hawthorne, as well as his attorney, Joseph Norwood. And I welcome all of you here. Glenn, it's extraordinary. You never wavered. You never stopped declaring your innocence. And now a judge has declared it on the record. Does this feel like justice to you?
Yes, this feels exactly like it was supposed to be. But yes, it feels like freedom.
It's freedom that I understand you've had, Glenn, just since July, which is a mere drop in the bucket to the amount of time of your life that was spent behind bars, wrongly convicted. So how do you even process this? How do you put this into perspective?
It's not instant, take it one day at a time and make constant adjustments to what's happening. You can't really put it in perspective. I'm still overwhelmed by it. Not by the freedom, but by how long it took for it to come.
Absolutely, and I'm sure having Cecilia and loved ones by your side at least helps you get through it on a day-by-day basis. But I'm curious, Joe, how did you get here? I mean, what was the process like for getting Simmons a new evidence hearing and eventually his release that happened earlier this year? Because I know you just got the case back in 2019. What did you do differently?
I proved his innocence. That hadn't been done yet. No one had fully brought the evidence that was really readily available into court to show that Glenn is innocent. And that was really the difference between why we were able to do this time, and previously he hadn't had the justice he deserves.
So, Joe, you say that this information, the evidence was readily available. It did not come to light. But I'm sure you've heard that the Edmond Police Department stands by their case. They say that Glenn committed the crime. So what's your message to them when you say you have evidence that obviously a judge agreed with?
I don't think they've looked at anything. I think that's a clueless spokesperson rattling off nonsense, frankly. The evidence is overwhelming that Glenn didn't do this. Edmond can put their statements out all they want, but again, it's just nonsense.
Do you think, Joe, you're going to go after some sort of compensation for wrongful imprisonment? I understand state law has a limit for that, though. What, like $175,000?
We are going to pursue compensation, but unfortunately, any compensation is uncertain, and it's in the future if it does come. For now, Glenn has to pay for his bills, and right now he is living off his GoFundMe, and I would encourage people to, in these holiday times, consider helping Glenn out. Go to his GoFundMe and do what they can. Hopefully compensation does come for him, but it's going to be down the road, and in the meantime, Glenn needs to be able to survive.
And Glenn, when I think about compensation, I mean, when I first read about this story, I couldn't even get my head around how you would be aptly compensated for spending almost 50 years behind bars. I mean, what does compensation, what does fairness look like to you now?
As I often say, what's been done can't be undone, but there can be accountability, and there will be accountability. That's what it's all about right now for me. They can't pay for what they done, because it was a deliberate act. It wasn't a mistake, So you can't pay for this. You can't pay for what's been done. But I can be compensated so I can live the rest of my life, in peace.
Yes, and that's all we ask for.
That's all I ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that is something people... Now, people would have to
No
admire you
amount
for
can
that.
give
There would be some who would not take up that approach. But can I ask you, Cecilia, Glenn, what your plans are for Christmas and how you're going to celebrate?
Whatever he wants to do.
Enjoy.
Whatever he wants to do.
Just go enjoy the holidays like family's supposed to.
I usually always ask him, what he wants, because we don't like to overwhelm Glenn a whole lot, just kind of take it one day at a time. Thanksgiving was lovely, very emotional, but I'm pretty sure Christmas will be too. So whatever Glenn wants to do.